friends, welcome back to another journey with the South Express. In this episode, we are in discussion with an eminent, world renowned environmentalist from Ladak who is fighting a valiant battle to solve the water crisis facing the Himalayas and the melting glaciers. Meet Mr. Sonam Wangchuk from Ladak. A mechanical engineer by education, he founded Students' Educational and Cultural Movement of Ladak, which has done an human service to reform the education system in Ladak. From South Express, we had the rare opportunity to receive him at the Bangalore airport when he arrived from abroad after a hectic schedule. Despite the fatigue due to jet lag, he was very energetic and shared his mind about various contemporary topics impacting the environment while he was traveling with us to the venue where he was about to meet a number of environmental activists in Bangalore.
Education till recently was about education that is meaningful in the lives of people in the mountains, which helps rather than hurts people and other living beings, in other words, nature. And so it was about education and using education, engaging young people to solve various problems. One of the problems, or most of our problems, are related to environment. It is water issues, it is very cold winter for which you burn a lot of fuel and
extreme climate,
lot of pollution, lot of emission because of the heating needs of a very, very cold polar climate. So we have been using the science that you study in schools to find solutions to how to live warm in a cold place using solar energy or using physics to make artificial glaciers. So mostly about education, but after 30 years of that, we saw that things could go haywire if politically Ladak doesn't become a sound form of democracy after becoming a UT. That's when we started movements to engage people in Ladak and outside to advocate for environmental safeguards.
Sir, in November, December, somewhere around that last year, we were going on fast. And how do you look at it now? How the people were supporting and how it was going all along? And what is the outcome of it?
I went on fast several times. The last one was in New Delhi, which was after a month's Padayatra, foot march from Leh to New Delhi, and then 16 days of fast to urge the government to hold talks and discuss how Ladak and the Himalayas could be safeguarded in these times of climate change and rampant industrialization and mega projects and so on. So finally, this was in October, the government agreed to hold talks with the leaders of Ladak, and now the talks are going on. 2 rounds have already happened, the third is to happen, and we are waiting for that.
And sir, you have taken the glacier east and you have traveled along the world. Half of the world you have covered, and you have gone to US also, and in the New York City, in the ocean, you have put that one. We have seen it. How was your experience, and what would you like to say?
So firstly, because talks are going on, we could only thank the government for holding the talks and making it meaningful, because they were going a little slow. So we kind of made it into a thank you event, whereby I thanked every city in India that supported the cause of the Himalayas and the government for resuming the talks, even if it is slow at the moment. And thirdly, and most importantly, to thank the United Nations because they declared 2025 as the year of glaciers preservation, and 21st March every year as the World Day for Glaciers. This is a great thing for us, means a lot for the people in the mountains and those who directly, indirectly depend on them, which is a quarter of the population of the world, 2 billion people. So we thought it would be great to thank the United Nations. Therefore, we observed a Ladak Thank You Day. And as a token of thank you and a symbolic message, we brought a chunk of glacier from the Haldongla Glacier at 18,000 feet. And then we brought it in the lay down, took it to all places of worship because we wanted to make it into a community event and observe the Thank You Day on 12th February. After that, we took the glacier with me traveling to New Delhi, where we presented it to the UN headquarters in Delhi, to the head of the mission. And then I took it to the US in Boston at Harvard, Kennedy School of Government, Harvard Graduate School of Design, and MIT Media Lab, and finally in New York City at the United Nations headquarters to convey the message of the melting glaciers. Nothing could have spoken more clearly than the glacier block, which was melting as I spoke very normally event. And then we presented it to them to also thank them for their concern for the glaciers. And then finally, after 21st February, which is 1 month before the Glaciers Day, after presenting it to the UN headquarters, we agreed that it should merge and melt into the ocean. So we took it to the Atlantic Ocean at the confluence of River Hudson and East River.
Okay, sir. Very nice, sir, that melting of the glaciers have to be slowed down. We can only slow down, we cannot stop it. Once it's going to happen, long afterwards. But the thing is, you know that Paris Accord, is aiming at, retaining the climate as 1.5 degree above the pre-industrialization level. This is a scenario where the melting of glacier also takes a very important role. This convention, I was expecting that we have to retain the climate change just 1.5 degree above the, pre-industrialization era. But the problem is now, after Trump 2 has come, they have gone out of the climate change accord. And whether it will have any impact on the climate change and do you think that melting of glaciers can be slowed down or is going to be faster?
Looking at the events, it looks like a sad event.
Okay.
But I think maybe sometimes when it is too sad, that's when people get awakened. And maybe they take serious steps. If it is slow poisoning, you don't know. But if it is too stark and strong an event, maybe that shakes them, wakes them up. So I only hope that these turn of events, which do not seem good for the climate, may end up shaking it so much that people will take a lesson if they are meant to. If still they continue choosing paths that lead to the destruction of the planet, then that's perhaps impermanence. I am not so much worried about the human beings, I'm worried about other beings who have no fault. They are suffering because of us.
Sir, now I think you are well aware of this EIA, which has been changed, the environmental impact assessment. They are exempting 100 kilometers from the border of the entire North Indian border. It covers around 15 lakh miles, they are completely taken away from the environmental impact assessment at all. That means they can do anything. So such things, whether it will affect the Himalayas, because Himalayas is one of the important part in the ecosystem.
completely. It will affect very badly. And 100 kilometers wide. You know what 100 kilometers aerially is a huge distance. B, still, if it is only for defense purposes, we can understand.
Okay.
So therefore, it should be very clearly inserted that only for defense purposes there could be a relaxation. That 200 kilometers is not needed. But what I'm afraid is that this provision may be used to let corporates plunder nature.
Okay.
You know? So just to keep it free doesn't make sense or makes very bad sense. At the most, it could be specified that it is only for defense purposes. Now, it's for us to wait and see. Rather than wait and see, proactively act, but time will tell whether it is truly for defense. If border is specified, border from other countries means defense. But if in the name of borders it is used for corporates, that's what we should not accept.
No, it's not clear that the EAA is not so clear about that. Every factory is allowed to be there. That's one of the biggest weakness in that one. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. So now our younger generation are all not aware of any of these things. So what do you feel? How to motivate the younger generation, which is very, very difficult for us. Even for preserving a lake, also we are suffering like anything. Amazingly, we are completely trying to save the entire Himalayas and melting of the glaciers, which is a very Herculean task.
Yes, tasks are Herculean, and therefore Hercules are needed. So people have to become Hercules.
Yes.
You all are doing. It may not look big impact, but imagine without you or me, it would be even less. So that much we are contributing, and if we can awaken few and they start doing, slowly it will become a critical mass. So education and awareness is the only answer. Nature will help us by showing its wrath, showing consequences of what happens, like it is showing. There are fires, there are typhoons, there are floods. So as this advances, it will be not as difficult to show them, but that would be sad if we wait for nature to show its wrath. Ideally, enough people should have the good sense to go out of way and spread awareness and spread action.
So in your opinion, environment is a people movement. It should be a people movement rather than a bureaucratic action plan. It should be a people's movement.
Bureaucratic also should be rooted in people's movements, people's priorities. So I don't think bureaucratic or governmental actions will be initiated unless they see a drive from the people behind it. So in all democracies, it is the people who finally matter.
Yeah, that's it. So in Bangalore, we are seeing that millions of trees are being raised down. Once it was a garden city and everyone was coming here from all over the country. They all, came here and settled down. But what we are seeing right now is it is becoming a garbage city. I think this is one of the toughest thing for us. We the people who are working here in the environment, we are finding it very difficult. Any suggestion would you like to say, sir? Because it's one of the toughest parts for us.
I think in India, we have some qualities that become counterproductive in the long run. People are very kind. They accommodate. Okay. And therefore, they don't look at the carrying capacity of a place. They say okay to this group of people, that group of people, however many numbers, this many cars, that many cars. So finally it becomes a situation where roads become meaningless, cars become meaningless when they are not as fast as somebody running or walking. In Bangalore, I've seen sometimes it is faster to walk. So saying okay to everything and accommodating and being kind is not true kindness. We should have clear idea of what is the carrying capacity and ruthlessly execute it. Best of cities do that. They don't say chalega, okay, in everything, whether building codes. Here we say chalega if you don't put up to standards, the structural strength, okay. Then one day earthquake shows that it was not okay and we have hundreds of thousands of deaths. Countries who strongly enforce the codes, the norms, or the capacities, they don't have problems. So I don't understand why Indian metros should allow everybody to just come when the city cannot take it. At the same time, expanding cities or exploding cities means collapsing villages. Exactly. So we have to make villages revive and thrive. Then only the cities will stay within limits. And then enforce, for example, traffic. You could enforce high taxes, registration taxes, on-road taxes, and use those taxes to make public transport free. There will be no incentive to take your car when buses are free. And it is paid by the very rich ones who still want to take taxes. There are measures possible. We seem to let it just go as if it will take care of itself, right? And it doesn't. And we see that.
So the melting of glaciers can be delayed. This is your gut feeling, sir?
If we act, anything is possible. Just the way we could spoil it, we could clean it up also. Ideally, if everybody comes to a point where they start acting, if we mobilize all that is in our hands, like education. Everybody spends 20 years in schools and colleges. If we use that to make them educated to live lightly and rightly in sustainable ways, then behaviors will be different. Right now, we are putting the same fuel that caused the problem. We won't get results that are different. So we have to change all systems. And then, yes, we should be able to.
Sir, your movement is an example for all the others, like Chipko movement. Your movement has become an example, how we can mobilize the people. Rather, you completely depend on the people's strength, and all people have given a full support, we are saying. We would like to have the same emulated in our movements also. Amazing moment, that too in a very minus temperature degree. You are doing such a good work, sir. We must pray to God to give you a long life, and thank you so much for giving.
I don't want a long life. I want an effective, meaningful life. If my life gets short and leads to something meaningful, I'm happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
South Express, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I thank you, South Express, for doing your bit to make awareness among people.
Thank you.
We shall overcome someday.
Thank you.